So I think it's important when there are other children in the family to acknowledge that right from the beginning. Because what gets complicated is the minute one child gets diagnosed, all the focus, all the attention, all the learning ends up on that particular child and on that situation. And sometimes almost to the never intentional, but almost to the neglect of the other children. Everything, where we're going to stay, what we're going to do, what the schedule is going to be, is all about that child. And keeping in mind that the other children still have to go to school, still have to get dressed, still have to eat, need to be picked up or need to be taken somewhere, and figuring out how we're going to attend to the practical pieces and the emotional pieces. We hear from siblings over and over and over again, even though they completely understand that it was not intentional in any way, that they actually felt neglected. And sometimes they felt almost abandoned, or they felt sort of shuttled from person to person. There were always caregivers, there were always people to feed them, pick them up, take care of them, help them do their homework, but it wasn't their parents. And that somehow the sick child got all the attention, sometimes to the exclusion, or at least the others felt somewhat pushed aside.
The kids only share a certain amount of things with their parents because, of course, I mean, and they want you to know it affects them and they want you to know. But they're not going to be openly to come and say to mom and dad, I'm jealous that you're spending all this time with my sister. I, as an adult, can understand that I'm not going to be with her forever, and I don't mind sacrificing my time for my child. But in the meantime, I never stop to wonder that I don't want my kids to resent me in the future, thinking, you didn't give me my life and you took away my young years because you always put Bella first. But yes, it affects them a lot. They miss their sister, but they miss their parents too.
So it becomes really important to talk with parents right from the beginning about, are there other children in the family? Yes, there are. We need to think about them. We need to think about them in a practical level. We also need to think about what you're going to tell them. How old are they? What kind of information do they want? Are you going to bring them to the hospital or to the clinic? Are you going to help them understand what's happening for their sibling?
So at the time of Cameron's diagnosis, her older sister was 2, and we met with a child psychologist to figure out how to talk with her about what was going to happen with her sister, because that was our number one concern. We cared most about what this would mean for her older sister. The psychologist told us, don't answer any questions that the child hasn't asked. You don't have to tell them what the end prognosis is. It won't mean anything to her anyway. But we did make very clear to her that her sister wouldn't walk and wouldn't talk, because these were things that she was very excited for her sister to start doing with her. And then we also made very clear to her that this disease wasn't her fault and that she didn't have it. These were things that the psychologist told us were going to matter a lot to her.
Sometimes there's jealousy that arrives. Suddenly the sick sibling is getting all kinds of, the patient is getting all kinds of presents and people visiting, and the other children are sort of wondering, why me? Sometimes siblings are also experiencing some guilt around why this happened to one child and not the other. They may also be experiencing relief, but they don't want to say that. They're very worried about burdening their parents with sort of one more thing, so they're not sharing about what happens. And we see this manifest in all kinds of ways. You may have the perfect child in the back of the room because they don't want to rock the boat at all. They know the family is already upset, things are already shaky, and they're going to be super good. And then other times you see the very worried, sometimes acting out child, or the child who has a lot of separation anxiety, may have had it to begin with but maybe not, suddenly doesn't want the parent to go, is having trouble sleeping or having trouble in school. Obviously we have to keep a developmental frame all this time, so it depends on how old these children are that we're talking about. But it becomes important for parents to recognize that sometimes leaving the hospital while one child's napping to go and be with the other child at home is really important.